moral injury, often it's like this response of, you have no clue what you're thanking me for, because if you did, you wouldn't be thanking me, right? Like, we're drawing attention to something that relates to their brokenness. And I think that that is really hard to navigate around as well.
We talked about that particular piece. I think Jamie and I did recently about thank you for your service, and I think because it's tough, right? Because people want to express their appreciation to veterans, and they don't know what else to say, and so their heart is beautiful. That people thank me for my service all the time, and I really appreciate it. And but I'm not in the category where I have shame about anything I've done. I don't like the hero. People say you're a hero because I don't see myself that way at all. But I think one way we could do that maybe we can educate people on, civilians on, and I'm not saying they have a class about it, but if somebody were to say to me, even if I did have some guilt for what I did, but thank you for your willingness to serve, thank you for your willingness to, it's a little bit of a different message, at least in the sense that your willingness was honorable no matter what actually occurred over there. But that's a tricky one, a very tricky
Yeah.
one.
And I think it's different in our country because, at least, for a really long time, the last several wars have not been fought here. And I have family in Lebanon, in Beirut, and like my uncles fought in the military for Lebanon. And there, when you go over there, still to this day, like, you have like the armed forces, all over the country, and there's this cultural norm that when you pass through, you say "Yatikun el afye," which translates, I think, kind of loosely to this, like, may God give you the will to keep doing what you're doing. Because in Lebanon, for example, like, they fought the wars on their soil, so the civilians know what the soldiers do. Here, there's a not knowing that is painful, right? It's painful for people because they don't know. And that's not their fault, right? And it's our responsibility to find places and avenues and education, like he said, to try to figure out how to hold the experiences so the people who bear the weight of them are not just our veterans. Yeah.
One
And
thing.
go ahead, Jamie.
No, please go ahead and I'll jump in.
Okay, I was gonna. Well, it was actually a separate thought. So if you want to add to that, I'll
so
go.
You talked about something and it just hit me different today. Like, there's the bearing witness to the things that, like, maybe you didn't do anything, or like I wasn't in my personal journey with this. It definitely affected me, but then even within the veteran community, it feels weak to say, oh, my feelings were hurt or my soul was wounded by these things that I observed, when there's people that actually had like limbs blown off. And then you're like comparing, and you're hesitant to share because your thing feels dumb compared to their thing. And, so I think there's even this compounding effect of the moral injury, in that it doesn't feel worthy of being labeled an injury. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I think that's the shame piece of it, right? Because the thing that shame wants everybody to do is to hide and to isolate, and shame festers in isolation.